Hey everyone, in this lecture we're going to do exactly the same as what we did in the last lecture where we're applying the area to the right, but we're going to be doing things backwards. So I'm going to be giving you the area to the right and you're going to have to give me corresponding z-scores. And we're applying that concept, so let's get started. Alright, we're going to go over to the computer and we're going to work through an example together, so I'll see you there. Alright, so just like the last videos, the way this is going to work is I'm going to set up the problem with you guys, and then I'm going to have you pause it, and then we're going to go into the solution. So, in this problem, just like the last ones, I'm not going to throw words at you, I promise. I'm going to set this up with you guys. In this problem, we're going to be basically doing the same thing as the last lecture, but backwards. And let me frame it this way. Here we have the IQ bell curve, right? This is the IQ bell curve. What I'm trying to figure out is what is a good IQ score. Now, I'm going to tell you what good means to me. I want the top 1%. What qualifies, what IQ would get you into the top 1%? Meaning if you had an IQ higher than this certain threshold, you would be in the top 1%. So this area right here is 0.01. So I'm giving you the area to the right, and I want you to find me the IQ that has that area to the right. Now this is kind of a tough problem, because in this case I'm not giving you an IQ score. And just like the last problems, we don't know anything about IQ scores. We don't know anything about SAT scores or ACT scores, other than the averages and the standard deviations. But we did master a bell curve called the standard normal distribution, which has an average of 0 and a standard deviation of 1. And this is the z-score bell curve. Now this IQ has a corresponding z-score, but we don't know what that z-score is. But because this IQ corresponds with this z-score, that means the area to the right of this z-score should also be 0.01 because they correspond to each other. Now, this is where things get kind of interesting. If we find this z-score, that might help us find the IQ score. Because again, we have that formula, z equals x minus mu over sigma. That will help us always find x given z or z given x. Now, let's see, how do we find the z-score if we know the area to the right? We can't. We can't do that. Here's why. The z-table only tells us the area to the left. There is a fix to this though. If I know the area to the right, then technically I can find the area to the left. And let me use a better color here. Let's do light green. This area right here, we can find the area to the left of this z-score because we know the area to the right. If this area right here is 0.1, then this area is everything else. Remember, the total area, this green region right here, plus the purple region should add up to 1. Both regions should add up to 1, meaning that this green region should be 0.99 because 0.99 plus 0.01 equals 1. So we know the area to the left of this z-score is 0.99, which, I mean, technically you don't need this information, but if it helps you, the area of this region on this IQ bell curve would also be 0.99. And now we can solve this. Now, this was a problem that we had 2 lectures ago, a very similar problem that we had 2 lectures ago, when we're given the area to the left and we're trying to find the IQ score. So how do we do this? Well, what we did was we looked at our z-chart and tried to find what z-score gives me an area to the left of 0.99. So now we're going to go over to our z-table, and we know the area to the left of this We know that the area to the left of this z-score is 0.99. So let's see here. I'm looking for 0.99 in this z-table. So let me put on annotation so that I can draw this for you guys. We're looking for 0.99. Now there's a lot of 0.99s around here, but I'm looking for the closest thing to 0.9900. Now let's see here. We have 0.9904 right here. 0.9901, that's really, really close, and 0.9898. Which one's closer there? Well, technically they're both really, really close, so I would take both answers to be correct. But in theory, this is 0.0001 closer, which means we're going to take this one. Now that z-score is 2.3. But keep in mind, this is the zero, the hundreds place is 0. These hundred place are 1. The hundreds place for this column is 2. And the hundreds place for this column is 3. Now we'd have to scroll up, but I actually can't scroll up when I have annotations on. It's going to mess everything up. But if you can pull up your z-score and check that out for yourself, you can verify that the z-score that corresponds to this area, 0.99, is 2.33. So now we're going to go back to our z-table, or our bell curves, and we just found what that z-score was. This z-score right here is 2.33, which is pretty big actually. Okay, so let's write that down. 2.33. So now we have the z-score, and we're trying to figure out what that IQ score is. So we have a formula that can convert z-scores to IQ scores, or vice versa, depending on how you want to use this formula. And that is z equals x minus mu over sigma. So let's fill that in. We have our z, which is 2.33, equals my x value, which I'm trying to find. I'm trying to find the corresponding variable, my IQ score, minus the average, which is 100. Again, we always use these statistics when we're trying to convert from z-scores to IQ scores or vice versa, divided by 16. All right, so now we need to solve for x, and again, we're going to need to use some algebra. So I need to multiply 2.33 by 16, and then add 100. If you want to see the math for that, you're going to have to watch a couple lectures ago, but I'll just write it off real briefly here. Multiply 16 on both sides. 2.33, here's my calculator. 2.33 times 16 is 37.28. Equals x, these two cancel off, so x minus 100. And then I need to add 100 on both sides. And those cancel off, and I get x equals 137.28. Now let me explain what this means. This means that if you have an IQ score of 137.28 or higher, you are in the top 1%. So any IQ score that is greater than or equal to 137.28 is in the top 1%. And that's what that says. So this value right here goes right here. That is that IQ score. And you can verify this if you want. So for all of you people who have an IQ score of like 138 or 139 or 140, congratulations, you're in the top 1% of the world. Good job. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next lecture.